hope you're doing well. Today I want to share with you slightly belated my June favorites. I realized I haven't done May favorites, and this time it wasn't because I wasn't creative that month, it's because it was such a busy month, so I just completely forgot about it. But for the June, although I'm running slightly late, I still thought you would love to know, because the month of June has been beautifully creative and it's my kind of like my favorite month of the year. It's my, birthday month, and also it was a big one this year. I turned 40, so the whole thing just felt really, really good. I felt like in a good place, and so that also reflected in my creativity. And so today the colors I will be showing you, they are quite a cheerful summery palette, and predominantly inspired by all the botanical art that I have been doing throughout the month of June. And I will show you a couple of things. We also will be focusing mostly on the so here's the palette that I've done. In June, I've done the Roman Schmaltz organizing, like the final organizing of the palette. There will be a few favorites from here too. So the mediums that I will be focusing on today are going to be all watercolors and water-soluble markers. So that is it. I don't have any other mediums to show today. This is the making or the putting together of my botanical palette, which is right here. I actually need to give it a little sticker to say it's a botanical palette. And yeah, this has been loads of fun too. So this tutorial is still coming. It's a tutorial on how you can create multi-layered and multifaceted flowers such as peonies, camellias, and all that good stuff. So whatever you can think of, even roses, you can change up the center and make it more into a rose, or create more petals by building them closer together so that it looks like a fluffy rose. This is also a tutorial that's coming still. I think I'm not sure which day of the week or what is coming. It's been so busy and I have been filming quite a lot of videos, so I can clear up my schedule and my diary and focus on editing the beautiful course that I put together earlier. When was it? May, June? I have no idea, but yeah, it was just such a interesting and creative couple of months for me, so I really have enjoyed. Okay, so let's start with the markers. So I have some of my favorite colors for June, and I will tell you what these colors are in a mere moment, simply because they only have numbers, and I have a little sketchbook to hand where I keep all the names here, so I can tell you. Okay, so this is the chartreuse, number 133, and then we have, this is a beautiful color. I didn't like it too much at the start, but I started using it in the foliage in botanical art. This is 126, and that's light olive. And then we're going to go into kind of warmer color. This is beautiful. This is 026, and that is yellow gold. This is a beautiful orange. It's a natural orange, 946, gold ochre. So it doesn't scream of like artificial type of a color, which I really like. And then we have a pink, which works beautifully with those petals, like rose petals and things. 772 is blush. And then final one, 757, that's port red. So this color looks beautiful with a bit of water. So I'll show you now what happens when you add a bit of water. So lately what I have been doing is I've been using these colors on top of watercolors and just adding a little bit of detail. So chartreuse is a light color by nature, so you're not going to see much of pigment. move, but some of the colors are really, really beautiful when you blend them with water. The lighter they are, the less impact you get, but then when you get to a nice darker color, you get more out. So this is a technique I used in an upcoming tutorial for these flowers right here. So for the darker parts, basically I first started with watercolor, so this is just pure watercolor, and then I started adding details and things like this gorgeous little speckle of the leaves. That I used the 026, this end of the marker, which is basically super fine, and you can create the tiniest little marks. And when you go over with water, so let me show you here. So when you go over with the water, you kind of blend them, but also you're maintaining that bit of texture there. So I love that technique as well. Just don't use too much water with the dots. So these are my favorites. They're beautiful color palette together. Then let's move on to watercolors. So I have here a tiny little palette, and I'll start with the chartreuse colors. So this is the palette that I put together when I was kind of cleaning up and tidying up this palette right here, which is my botanical palette. So it's this one right here, and I have a swatch card. So I moved out the Agalo Fig Green. I don't know, it's kind of, I have a love and hate relationship with it. I don't enjoy mixing it, like when I'm mixing colors. I love it on its own. It's super milky, it's kind of creamy. It's a beautiful color, really beautiful. It actually would be fantastic for an illustrative style, and when you're working with an area that you want to have a very smooth layer of color. I find that as soon as I start using it like I like using watercolor, it just doesn't work for me very well. I don't know whether it's something in the composition of it or what it is, but I love it as a solid color and not be used in mixtures, just on its own as it is, smooth laid. So that's that. And then I will show you a few colors from this palette here. So my favorites, I'm going to go into my cobalt teal. So this is a color I have designed. By the way, if you are not aware yet, I just started a sale yesterday on my website, AlyonaCreates.com. When you head to the online shop there, it will take you to my Shopify online shop, and then there you will see that I have now the tube sets back available on there, because after I moved from Etsy, I haven't had a chance to pop them there. You only had, where is it? This palette available in the half set, in the half pence, and it's my ultimate palette, my handmade watercolors. But I also have this large set right here with the tubes, and I will be redesigning the tubes themselves. If you remember, I did not have a kind of choice of the lids, and as time went by, I didn't think that the design of the tube kind of was going hand in hand with my branding. So I will be redesigning the tubes for my next release, and therefore I am reducing almost by like half. So originally my set was available for £75 and it's now available for £45. So that's a very, very good deal there, and it's available until stock lasts, because I won't be restocking it in that kind of shape and form, if that makes sense. So if you're interested, I think out of the tube you probably get maybe 3 or 4 half pans, full half pans. So yeah, you can kind of just get that if you really like these colors and you want to top them up. That's a good deal there. So let's recap. We have here Fig Green by Agallo. This is my own Alyona Creates Cobalt Teal, and right next to it is my own chartreuse as well. And then we have Daniel Smith Green Gold and Michael Harding's Moss Green. So this is the greens that I have really enjoyed this month. Then we also have Aussie Red Gold, a color I haven't used in a really long time, and I've really enjoyed going back to it. So Aussie Red Gold is a lovely orange. It has a lot of kind of warmth and glow to it. And then as far as pinks go, Winsor Newton Rose de Ray, another color that I have revisited. It's such a precious color. I find it works better out of a tube. It dries quite hard, so you have to wiggle your brush quite a bit to get the color. It's very subtle. It's very kind of, it's perfect for a little blush if you're doing illustration of like cute little faces and things like that. It's also a great color for botanical paintings, and obviously have like roses and begonias and all that good stuff. And finally Cork Quinacridone Red Light. Beautiful bubblegum type of a pink. I love this one. And now let's look at my Roman Schmal palette, and I'll give you some favorites from there as well. I just realized one more color I forgot to include, and I definitely want to include it, is the Winsor & Newton Permanent Rose. It's sort of like a more sophisticated sister of the Opera Rose. So it's not as garish, it's not as crazy, but it is fantastic in mixtures when you want to amplify that whatever color you're using, like if it would be an orange or whatever, if you want to create a beautiful bright red. Also when it's at its lightest, it's also very pretty. In fact, I could actually also go ahead and include the Rose Mother Genuine, and that is purely for its color and scent. So it's got a beautiful rose scent. So I'm just going to add that. It's similar in tone, but just a bit more of a natural version of this, I guess. It's super pretty on its like lightest watered out version. And yeah, highly recommend those as well. Okay, so let's now go back to Roman Schmalz palette. All right, so let's now focus on our Roman Schmalz Aquarius palette. So if you're new, I have created this palette by using one of the tins from Derwent Pencils. So let's start with Aquarius Green, definitely going in. And Aquarius Green is this one right here. So Aquarius Green is beautiful because it has a lovely kind of nature to it. It likes to pigment separate a little bit, so I'll try to encourage that just by adding and moving a little bit of water here and there. And I'll show you all the close-ups a bit later. And then we have got Green Gold, which is beautiful. So Green Gold is the third one here. I love their green gold. They also have a deep green gold, which is very close to it, slightly more muted, but I prefer their green gold. And then we have Ginger Red. That's another beautiful color. Really pretty. Very kind of unusual as well. Would be hard to find it in any other brand. Super granulating. When you work with it as a mass tone, you will find out that it's really kind of creamy and almost opaque, but then you can water it out and again start getting the granulation going and things like that, and it's really pretty. Then we have Blue Ridge Burnt Sienna. So that's this one right here, also very pretty color. Their neutrals are gorgeous. They really have done a fantastic job with the neutrals. And let's see, transparent brown right underneath it. And then I'll start going into the reds and pinks. That's a beautiful brown color. Okay, so now we're going to go into Anthraquinoid Scarlet, which is 4th. So it's kind of similar to that core here, but even warmer. Beautiful color, straight as it is for geraniums. Like I have some geraniums that are exact that color. And another color I want to include is there, if you really like fiery. Of course, the memory card got full, and at the point when I was recommending a beautiful red, fire engine red, it got cut off. So we have Anthraquinoid Scarlet as this kind of similar to a bubblegum pink, just more warm. Then we have Pyrrole Scarlet. By the way, these two are different enough to be included in the same kind of palette even. Pyrrole Scarlet is a color that is that bang in the middle red. It's not cool tone, it's not too warm toned, it's in the middle, it's perfect. It's that poppy fire engine red. And then Aza Red. How could I not include it? It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, intense red. If you want a slightly deeper red, but have such an impact in your painting, this will do the job. So I wasn't going to use any pencils, but since we have kind of like a color palette going here, loads of greens, loads of chartreuses, and warm tones, oranges and pinks, I thought, for those of you who do like using pencils and combining them with your watercolor art, I will just match you to those pencils that I think you would enjoy. So we've got Carnelian. By the way, did you know that Carnelian is a mineral? It's a crystal. And so they called it after that, carnelian. In fact, I have a tutorial on my channel where I am painting carnelian. Then we have this beautiful pencil here. What's that? Oh, that is also carnelian, but it's in a watercolor pencil form. And then, let's see. Okay, so that will do for our greens. And then we have the oranges right here, and then a couple of pinks. This is a lovely pink that will go with these sort of bubblegummy pinks. And I'll go with that. I think that's it. Let's not overdo it. So we'll start with the chartreuses and the greens. So we have got this one here, which is olive yellow. This is a watercolor pencil, so it will look even prettier when adding water. Then we have spring green. So these pencils are the Museum Aquarelle by Caran, and this is their luminance, just like a solid normal pencil. Here we have got a lovely green, which is a Holbein, and then we have got luminance olive yellow. So olive yellow was the first pencil. As you can see, it's a bit more intense. And then finally we have green ochre. So the first one, and then the last one. This one has a fantastic impact once you use a bit of water with it. It really wakes up the pigment beautifully. And now swiftly moving on to pink. This is Anthraquinoid pink, and then the same in water soluble. And then we have carnelian and carnelian again. So let's do carnelian and carnelian. So the carnelian in the water soluble pencil, or the watercolor pencil, is a bit more deeper, but it's super gorgeous. And then the Anthraquinoid is right here, fairly similar to the solid pencil, not much of a difference at all. So those I would match to this color palette. I hope you enjoyed this video, the favorites, and let me know what you think. What are your favorites for the month of, well, what were your favorites for the month of June, and how did you get on with them? What sort of art did you use them in? Was it more abstract or botanical, landscapes, portraiture, illustrative art? You just tell me and we can start a little conversation down there. All right, I'll see you soon.